Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon, there is lots to currently talk about, so I'm going to be giving you a bit more additional information regarding Paul Pogba. Also going to be giving you the latest news regarding Jack Grealish, but we'll delve into the topic about Jack Grealish a bit later on in the video. So the first topic I'm going to start with is Paul Pogba. So reportedly, Paul Pogba wants to make a return to Juventus. He is open to rejoining Juventus in the summer after the European Championships. Now, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola has come out and said, Italy is his second home. So I do believe Paul Pogba does want to make a return back to Turin. According to the Daily Mail, it's not very reliable is the Daily Mail, but they've reportedly said that we want around £83 million for Paul Pogba this summer. Before we said we wanted around 150 million. Obviously last summer, we said we wanted around 180 million pounds, but of course Real Madrid were reluctant to pay it. So we want around 83 million pounds for him in the summer. That's £6 million less than what we paid for him, because we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba, and obviously that means in that aspect he is our most expensive signing. But Paul Pogba has already revealed that he is going to be leaving the football club in the summer, because he told our teammates not too long ago. But at this current present time, he's focusing on getting Manchester United back into the Champions League. As you all know, Paul Pogba has only played around 8 games this season, due to the injuries he's had. Of course, Paul Pogba hasn't, played, from the start since September, and, he hasn't played overall since Boxing Day. Obviously, I'll provide you with the news regarding his injury. Paul Pogba, is, close to returning from injury. His recovery is good. 1 month after his surgery on his ankle, so he is now, very, very closer to returning his Paul Pogba. Obviously, Solskjaer did reveal, I think it was last month, that Paul Pogba was expected back, sometime in February, but now that is not the case, because we was hopefully was going to be back for the game on Monday against Chelsea. But now reportedly, the earliest we're looking at Paul Pogba being back is for the Manchester derby on the 8th of March, which is a couple of weeks away. But yeah, he has been a big miss in that midfield. And, a lot of United fans have got different perceptions on Paul Pogba. Some United fans would want to keep him, and some United fans, would want to get rid of him in the summer. But obviously, if we get Jack Grealish in anywhere, then we can obviously afford to lose Paul Pogba. So we will see what happens. But I did say, didn't I, he'll either go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't go to Real Madrid, he will make a return back to Turin, because Pogba did endure 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. But the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison, since he, rejoined, in 2016. And now Paul Pogba is in his 4th season as a Manchester United player. He is heading into the final year of his contract now. Man United do have an option to extend his contract by a further year. But Paul Pogba has got the same perception now as what he had last summer, because last summer he revealed that he wanted to leave the football club. Reflects on the substantial amount we put on him last summer. This is why Real Madrid didn't get him. If we had lowered our asking price, then I think Real Madrid would have got him on the board last summer. But Paul Pogba's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, not only in the January transfer window just gone, not only last summer. There was also a lot of talks about him leaving under Jose Mourinho, because he endured a difficult relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously Barcelona were in for him at one point, but he's still regarded as one of the best midfielders in the world. So now I do believe Juventus are emerged as the favourites to get him on the board in the summer. So this is what it has said. Paul Pogba, of course, was not part of the warm weather training camp in Spain, because he was continuing his rehabilitation from his ankle injury. But, he's recovering well now, 1 month after, the surgery on his ankle. But that is the latest news regarding Paul Pogba. But at least in the summer we'll generate a substantial amount for his departure. And also it'll free up our wage bill a bit more, because Pogba is on around 290 grand a week at the football club, so he is one of the highest paid players. And obviously we're already generating some funds, reflect on some of the players that did leave Manchester United last summer. And also, I expect around 4 or 5 players to leave this summer. So we're going to generate more money in that aspect and that. So that's the latest news regarding Paul Pogba. So now I'm going to be giving you the latest news regarding Jack Grealish. So Jack Grealish has come out and he's reportedly told his friends that he does want to make a move to Manchester United in the summer. You know, the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Manchester City have been in for the player, but he does want to make a move to Manchester United and he is considering leaving Aston Villa this summer. The main explanations for this is because Jack Grealish wants to rejuvenate his career and he wants to take his footballing career to the next level. He is only the age of 24, is Jack Grealish, and he can play as an attacking midfielder and he can also play as a winger. He is well Premier League proven as Jack Grealish. Up until this point, he has spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa as Jack Grealish up until this point. And I think he also had a loan spell with Notts County. Jack Grealish has got around, 3 years left in his contract. He's still under contract with Villa until 2023. You know, he's on around 100 grand a week at Villa. And I think he's set to cost Man United in the excess of around £45 million because he has got a £45 million release clause in his contract. So probably, you know, we are seeing Jack Grealish as the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba and that. But obviously, you know, there was reports coming out, weren't there, saying that, you know, the other day saying that we're planning a double transfer swoop for Jack Grealish and James Maddison. And he did say, you know, they would cost us around £160 million, you know, for both players. Now, obviously, you know, we've been long admirers of James Maddison. Obviously, you know, James Maddison is actually our preference over Jack Grealish, but obviously, you know, James Maddison is closing in on signing a new deal with Leicester. You know, he's currently got 3 years left, I think, on his current contract at the moment. But I'd love both, you know, players at Manchester United, definitely. You know, imagine the likes of, you know, James Maddison and Jack Grealish alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield. You know, we would look very, very strong then in that midfield, you know. So, you know, they're also, you know, summer transfer targets for Man United. Also, I've been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Jadon Sancho. Now, he could be our first signing in the summer transfer window, and obviously if Solskjaer is to be still Manchester United manager in the summer transfer window, it will be his 4th transfer window as Manchester United manager, but I'm very sceptical that Solskjaer will be here in the summer. Now, I've been with Jadon Sancho, the news about him, you know, as it come out the other day saying that he allegedly agreed to join Manchester United in the summer. He allegedly agreed to join Manchester United in the summer, and reportedly he's going to cost us in the excess of around £120 million. So that means in that aspect, you know, we'll have to make him our, you know, most expensive signing. And reportedly we're set to offer him a contract with around £200,000 a week. Jadon Sancho has revealed he's keen on making a move to Man United. Borussia Dortmund have confirmed that Sancho will be leaving at the end of the season. You know, of course, Chelsea are still in for him. You know, Real Madrid have expressed their interest. But another main explanation why we are the favourites to get Jadon Sancho is because, you know, Chelsea have just signed Hakim Ziyech from Ajax for around £38 million. So, yeah, we can get Jadon Sancho on the board. And some people believe that if we don't get any European football and that, you know, maybe we'll find it hard to get Jadon Sancho because a player of Jadon Sancho's calibre wants to be, you know, in Champions League football and that. A lot of players, you know, to the elite level do. But, you know, we'll be determined to pay the £120 million for him. You know, Borussia Dortmund said they wanted minimum £100 million for Jadon Sancho. And he has enjoyed a very difficult season with Borussia Dortmund. He's been dropped in a lot of games this season as Jadon Sancho. But I think in his 2 previous seasons, he's done really, really well. And he's been a revelation in Germany's Jadon Sancho. And Borussia Dortmund will make a huge profit on the player. They're going to make £13 million profit or something like that, because he only paid around £7 million in from Man City back in 2017. The main explanation why he left Man City is because City couldn't assure him first team opportunities. Before he was at City, he was at Watford. Jadon Sancho's got around 2 years left on his current contract with Dortmund. He's under contract with them until 2022. He is predominantly a right winger, but he can also play centrally. But I would be excited about the prospect of Jadon Sancho coming in, playing alongside the likes of, you know, Rashford, Daniel James, Bruno Fernandes, Grealish and Maddison, if they're also to come in. But he'd do really, really well at Manchester United. And him reuniting in the Premier League in the summer is very, very beneficial for his career. And plus, he would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because Solskjaer does want to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the football club. So yeah, they're Man United's summer transfer targets. And as you all know, Man United are going to spend a substantial amount in the summer on recruiting more players in. So just if we get Sancho, James Maddison and Jack Grealish in the summer, they're going to cost us £280 million, £160 million for Maddison and Grealish and £120 million for Jadon Sancho. £280 million on 3 players is a substantial amount. Like I said before, I can't estimate how much money Manchester United have got. I can't even estimate how much we've got. But, we have obviously, got a lot of money. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has spent over £200 million so far. Obviously, last summer, he recommended Daniel James in, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. Spent nearly £150 million on them. And then obviously in the January transfer window, we recommended Bruno Fernandes in for £68 million. And of course, we got Odion Ighalo in on loan until the end of the season. So it is good, that we have addressed some of the problematic areas in that. But in the summer, there is still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. Solskjaer is planning on bringing 2 forwards in the summer transfer window. He's also, keen on getting a right winger in. Man United definitely need at least another midfielder. We possibly need a left back because, like I mentioned, Luke Shaw struggling for consistency and he has sustained a lot of injuries as a Man United player. And obviously Brandon Williams is now our first choice left back, but taking into account he's still inexperienced, he's only in his first season in the senior squad, is Brandon Williams. So probably we do need a left back. Possibly we need a centre-half, someone who can go alongside Harry Maguire. We probably need someone on like Harry Maguire's level. And Lindelof isn't on Harry Maguire's level, but I still think Lindelof has blended in very well alongside him for the vast majority of this season. But if we could get a centre-half in, then you could, use Victor Lindelof as a backup. Because I know Harry Maguire's done mainly well since he come in. He's obviously the club's second most expensive signing. He's the most expensive defender in the world, is Harry Maguire. But, we are still conceding goals, and that is an element of concern. Some people are saying, we possibly need a left winger. Obviously, then Daniel James could be a cover-up or something like that. So yeah, there's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed, but furthermore, investment is needed at Manchester United, definitely. But revert back to what I said, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be at Manchester United in the summer anyway. I don't think he will be here. Obviously, we did say we'd sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on one condition, and that's if we don't finish in the top 6 this season. And obviously, if we don't qualify for Europe, then Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. Could possibly still be sacked anyway. There was reports saying that Martial could get him sacked. If Odion Ighalo doesn't hit the ground running very quick, he could also get Solskjaer the sack. But if we was to get European football secured and we was to finish within the top 6, then maybe we could be determined to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer another season, because this is his first full season at Manchester United at the moment. Of course, if we do decide to sack him, we'd have to pay around £5 million in compensation, but I'm very sceptical that Solskjaer will see out, the 2.5 years left that he's got on his current deal at Manchester United. But, I think he's been here long enough now. He's been at the football club 14 months. He's been permanent boss for 11 months. One of the mistakes Man United did make was giving him the job on a permanent basis. But the main explanation why we're giving the job on a permanent basis is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager. But he isn't the right manager for Manchester United. Solskjaer, like I've mentioned, there's not only problems with the management at the club, there's cultural problems at the club, and we need someone to come in to change the culture of the club. Like I said, there's not only problems with the manager, there's problems, the way the club's being run. We need to get the Glazers out. They've been here since 2005 and they've generated a lot of money out of this club, taking into account. We need to get Ed Woodward out. Don't forget, Ed Woodward recently come out and said that, he said he's defending the club's recruitment policy, and he's set to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with more transfers in the summer. And not too long ago, he came out and wrote a fans forum, did Ed Woodward and that. Ed Woodward, of course, has been our executive chairman since 2012. This is now his 8th season at Manchester United, Ed Woodward's. But, a lot of United fans are protesting him. What's he done since he's come in, Ed Woodward? We spent a hell of a lot of money. We spent like nearly £1 billion, or is it £1 billion in the last 6 or 7 years? I'm recruiting new players in. Not only that, we've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. Look at the amount of money that's been spent. Like I mentioned, over 200 million under Solskjaer, 400 million under Jose Mourinho, about 258 million under Louis van Gaal, 67 million pounds under David Moyes. So yeah, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. But analysing the vast majority of these players, they are Jose Mourinho's, because since I think Jose Mourinho's actually spent the most money at the club. He has actually spent the most money at the club as Jose Mourinho on that. Also, Ed Woodward has sacked 3 managers, because 3 managers have been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. David Moyes went after 9 or 10 months. Louis van Gaal went like just after a year, despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And Jose Mourinho went after, he enjoyed 2.5 years at Manchester United. He's enjoyed the longest tenure with the club since, the Alex Ferguson era. So yeah, we need to get Ed Woodward out of the club. Also, the board are very accountable. I actually think the vast majority of the blame stems from the board, from my own perception, because the board have been a liability for several years, reflecting on their poor recruitment and their poor, selection of managers and that. So I think we need to get rid of our board and, recommend a new board in. There's not only problems though with that, there's also a lot of problems on the pitch, because a lot of aspects of our game need to improve. There's still a lot of deadwood at Manchester United that do need to be moved on in the summer. I've already gone through, I think, the players that need to be moved on in the summer. But on the other hand, there's still players I will be determined to keep at Manchester United. Now, analysing our squad, I think it's a decent team. We've got quite a lot of good players in our team. But, they're just not playing as a unit and they're not gelling together. And this is one of the main explanations why we're not in that commanding position that we should be in. We should be, in that top 4 now, realistically, because we've had so many opportunities this season to get into that top 4. Because Chelsea have been very inconsistent this season, but, when they've slipped up, we failed to capitalise. One of our ambitions this season is to finish in that top 4. The other ambitions is to get some silverware on the board, so we can still win the Europa League. We can win, we can win the FA Cup. And it would be good, to get some silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. But, it would be very, very good. But, we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And, Solskjaer's record's disastrous. Since he got the job permanently at Man United, he has lost more games in the Premier League than he's won. And I think this season we haven't won 3 games on the trot in the Premier League. And that just indicates how bad, Manchester United are. But I think in the next couple of seasons anyway, our aspirations will be that top 4. I don't think we're going to win the league for several years, because, we haven't won it since 2013, which is 7 years ago. But analysing it at the moment, City is strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us, and it's going to take us time, to get to their current level. I think City have finished higher than us in the last, 4 or 5 years, or is it 6 years they've finished higher than us of Manchester City in that. But, it's going to take a long rebuilding process, and I think, regardless of what players we bring in, it doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. I still don't feel as though he's the right man for Man United. I was excited when we got Fernandes in. I was delighted. I was delighted when we got Adina Galloway and that. But it does not change my perception on the manager. Definitely doesn't change my perception on the manager. And the main explanations why I don't think he's the right manager for the club: too inexperienced as a manager. Man United is the 3rd club he's managing in his managerial career. Before he was at Man United, he was at Mould. Before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. And his record at Cardiff was disastrous. He got sacked from Cardiff because he got Cardiff relegated. We didn't really pay that much to get him in from Mould, though. Obviously we paid a couple of million to get him in as an interim manager. I think then we paid a further, £7 or £8 million to give him the job on a permanent basis. So that's the way Man United saw it. And he's also, being tactically naive. You know, he has no plan A, he has no plan B, doesn't really know how to change a game. And just for me, his managerial style does not suit the football club. He's way out of his depth, he's Solskjaer. As a player, my perceptions are totally comparison, because as a player, he was fantastic. He endured 11 years at Manchester United. Solskjaer made a total of 366 appearances in all competitions and scored 126 goals. You know, one of his most iconic moments as a player was in 1999. 1999, of course, is one of the club's greatest achievements from what we did in 1999. But, you know, on the other hand, there's some aspects of me, you know, that do credit Solskjaer, like I mentioned. Maybe in some games this season, he's tactically got it right. Obviously, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players, because he did confirm at the start of this season anyway that the young players would get given their chances. And there is a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. You know, Mason Greenwood's doing well. And Mason Greenwood needs to start more in the Premier League. He hasn't had enough starts in the Premier League this season, but in the cup games he's been getting them starts. But got to be honest with you, I think Mason Greenwood is a much better solution than Anthony Martial at the moment. I really, really do. You know, Mason Greenwood's on 10 senior goals this season in 20-odd first-team appearances. You know, I think Williams is doing really, really well. You know, Tuan Zebe's, before he got injured, I thought he did well. Diego Dalot's just recently come back from injury. You know, so there's quite a few young players that are in their first seasons in the senior squad. Greenwood is, Williams is, Chong is. You know, Chong's one of the players I would move on, because I think he's a liability, is Chong, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, he has got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players and that. But yeah, I think, you know, Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. I don't think he'll be here in the summer. And it's very, very likely that Mauricio Pochettino will be our next manager. That's looking very, very likely. You know, obviously Pochettino has revealed he wants the Manchester United job. Of course, he's been in negotiations with the football club. And obviously we won't get him in until the end of the season. Then if we wait till the end of the season, we won't have to pay anything to get him in. But if he was to come to Man United or any other club before the end of the season, then Tottenham then would be entitled to £10 million in compensation. But, you know, Pochettino's come out and he's basically said, you know, he'd love a return to the Premier League. So he still wants to continue in managing in the Premier League, because he's already, you know, managed, you know, 2 Premier League clubs, and he's well proven in the Premier League. You know, he endured 5.5 years with Tottenham, did really, really well with Tottenham. Obviously, before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. You know, enjoyed a really short tenure with Southampton. I think he guided Southampton to their highest ever finish. And he obviously managed Espanyol, where he began his managerial career. So far, he's managed 3 clubs in his managerial career as Pochettino. You know, we've been long admirers of him. I think the mistake Manchester United did make was not, you know, recommending Pochettino in, you know, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. We should have got him in at that point. Then it may have been a different story with Manchester United, but we didn't. We went with Solskjaer instead. But Pochettino hasn't only been linked with a managerial role at Man United. There was speculation about him going to Munich earlier on this season. Madrid have been long admirers of him. You know, Real Madrid have also, you know, recently been in for Pochettino. But I just think, you know, Pochettino is a very, very good manager. My only element of concern about Pochettino is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. So that's my only element of concern. But he is a very, very good manager. And I think his philosophy would be right for the football club. You know, like I said, I'm not saying that we're going to be challenging or winning the league and that under Pochettino, but I think we'll just look a much better team, you know, than what we do under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because Pochettino, he can develop young players. That's another good thing about him. And I just think it's too the strappings of the football club with Pochettino. You know, I just think, reflect on the size of our club, we need to recommend a manager in, you know, who's got a proven pedigree, a manager who's at the top level. It's not always the right solution, you know, getting the managers in with the proven pedigrees in that, because we've already had two with them managers. You know, we had Mourinho, you've got, you know, we had Louis van Gaal. Obviously, you know, their tenures didn't work out at Man United. But Pochettino did say, didn't he, earlier on the season, if he was to come in, he said he wanted to take control of the transfers, and he said, you know, he didn't want Ed Woodward at the football club. Of course, he was spotted alongside Neil Ashton at Griffin Park the other day, spectating the Brentford Leeds game. So obviously, that had fueled speculation up. So Pochettino does want to become Manchester United manager. He'll be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And, Man United are not really known as a sacking football club. But I don't see Pochettino invoking Ferguson's legacy. Solskjaer won't invoke Ferguson's legacy. But regardless of who our manager is, they will not invoke Alex Ferguson's legacy at the club. Ferguson, it was unbelievable what he accomplished. He endured, 26, 27 years at Man United. Very long-serving manager. But take into account, Alex Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. So you've got to take that into account and that. Obviously, like I said, a lot of players have left since Solskjaer's arrival. We've seen 9 senior players leave. Of course, Young left this year. He went to Inter Milan after he endured 8.5 years at Man United. Of course, reflects on his departure. Harry Maguire got the captaincy on a permanent basis. The club made the right decision by giving Maguire the captaincy. Some people are saying Fred should get it. Obviously, Marcus Rojo went out on loan to Estudiantes. Solskjaer did say that Young and Rojo wouldn't have left in January, but obviously, they did. We let Rojo go because obviously, Bay and Fossil-Mensah are now back from injury. And obviously, we've got a variety of fullbacks, of centre-halves in the team, a lot of centre-halves. We saw Chris Smalling, he went out on loan to Roma. He endured 9 years at Man United. Darmian went to Parma last summer. Herrera left on a free transfer, went to PSG. I think that's one mistake Man United did make, was getting rid of Ander Herrera, because you can say he was one of our best players since the Ferguson era. I thought he enjoyed a good 3.5, 4 years out of the 5 years he was at Man United. Fellaini, got rid of him. He enjoyed 6 years at the club. We paid over £27 million for him under David Moyes. And Sanchez and Lukaku, of course, both went. Again, we could have made a mistake getting rid of Lukaku. He's firing on all cylinders now at Inter Milan. Is Lukaku. He's doing really, really well. He enjoyed 2 seasons at Man United. I thought he was exceptional his first season, but never really got his opportunities in his second season, to be fair, did Lukaku. He had to go, really, because he lost his place in the team, because Solskjaer's preference was Marcus Rashford ahead of Ronald Lukaku. But I'm happy with the money we generated from his departure, because we got £70-odd million for him. We paid £75 million for him from Everton back in 2017 and that. But, we need to get an adequate replacement for Lukaku. I know we've got Adi Nagala in, but it's not on a permanent transfer. He's only on loan. I'm happy with the news that Sanchez won't be now coming back to Man United in the summer. Solskjaer did reveal back in January that, Sanchez was going to be coming back in the summer and that he was going to prove everybody wrong. But now that's not the case. He's on loan at Inter Milan. So we're looking for someone to buy him, basically. It's a shame we couldn't get rid of him on a permanent transfer before, but we couldn't because, obviously, reflecting on, the wages he was on, no team or not many teams could afford to pay those wages off. We're still paying the vast majority of his wages now, despite the fact he's on loan with Inter Milan. We're still paying him, we're still paying 300 grand a week. I think Inter Milan are paying, the other 100-odd thousand. So take that into account and that. So yeah, and Dean Henson, of course, is out on loan with Sheffield United, doing really, really well. David De Gea is now becoming nervous. I think Dean Henson is expected to return to Man United after his loan spell with Sheffield. Then I think Man United will possibly make Dean Henson our number one goalkeeper, because David De Gea is definitely becoming a liability at Man United. He's becoming a liability at Man United, is, David De Gea and that. But he's been our number one for a long time anyway, as De Gea. Also forgot to mention, Valencia left, didn't he, last summer after he endured 10 years at Manchester United and that. But the players that need to be moved on, in my opinion, Phil Jones needs to be moved on. Phil Jones, Matic, Lingard, Pereira, Chong, I think they're all liabilities, every one of them. Luke Shaw as well. They're all liabilities, all them players I've just mentioned to you. Pereira needs to be dropped. He's played far too much this season, but I think the only main explanation why Pereira's been playing as many games as he has is because of the injury to Scott McTominay, and as you all know, McTominay now is close to returning. Yeah, And obviously, you saw my preview for the Chelsea game earlier on. You saw my preview for that. You know, I'll give you a bit of team news and that building up to the game. And, you know, Pogba's not going to be playing. You know, McTominay, Fosu-Mensah and Tuan Zebe have all been back in training, and they were part of the warm of a training camp in Spain. But I think this game against Chelsea has come too soon for them. And you saw my starting 11 prediction earlier on. We know against Chelsea, Odegaard will be making his debut. Bruno Fernandes will be making his second appearance for the club. So it's going to be interesting to see how Solskjaer approaches the game against Chelsea, isn't it? So, yeah. So that's everything to update you with today, guys. You know, so that's your latest news on Pogba. You know, your latest news on Grealish and everything else. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.